Greetings, humanoids. It is I, Christina, here at Fit and Bendy Studios, and today we're going to talk about how the way that you breathe can affect neck and back pain. A lot of times we end up with these overinflated rib cages that shoot our shoulders up and create all this tension in our necks and backs, and we just walk around like a bunch of zombies without taking full breaths. Not ideal. So today we're going to learn a gentle technique to feel our core muscles and the way they drop our rib cages back down so we can take a full exhale breath and relax those neck and back muscles for a little bit more ease in our lives. And I want to say a special thank you to the Postural Restoration Institute and Rebalance Pilates, which is where I learned these techniques, and they're amazing. I'm going to put links to them below if you want to check them out. So we're going to start on the floor today. Go ahead and grab a couple of pillows to make yourself comfortable. And I'm going to put on my voiceover voice because I can't breathe and talk at the same time. Meet me down there. Just lay down. Lay on your back. You want your head to be supported by a nice comfy pillow. I like to put something under my knees. I highly recommend that. So your back is relaxed and comfortable. Check in and relax as much of your body as possible, especially around your hips and lower back where we tend to carry all of that tension. And just take a couple of deep breaths in and out through your nose. As you inhale, go ahead and let your back arch slightly up off the floor. Feel those back muscles. And then as you exhale, let your back totally relax and feel how it hopefully sinks down towards the floor a little bit. And that as you exhale, you can feel your abdominal muscles gently contract in. And that's going to bring your ribs and your hip bones closer together. The idea here is that we want to be able to feel the muscles of our core engage, the muscles around the middle of our body, our meat corset, as I like to call it, without any help from our neck, our shoulders, or our hips. So you might notice that your head tilts up a little bit like mine does, and that's because my neck is relaxed. So it's just responding naturally to the movement that's happening as my ribs drop down on that exhale. And that is a normal, natural thing that we want to feel happening. Notice if your hips are wanting to clench, we want the hips to be as relaxed as possible. And the more that you do this, the more that you'll be able to get your ribs to drop down, bringing the tips of the front of your ribs down into your belly, using those abdominal muscles and feeling them engage, and your back gets to just lengthen out and relax onto the floor. And if you can do that, you can experiment with what does it feel like to inhale without relaxing those meat corset muscles. It's going to mean that your chest has to expand a little bit. So you actually might feel a stretch in your rib cage as your ribs expand on that inhale. Go ahead and relax now and just check in and move things around. You want to check in and make sure that you weren't holding sneaky tension in your neck or in your hips. So roll your head around, shake your shoulders around. Look for where you might have been holding tension in any part of your body other than your meat corset. I like to wiggle my fingers and toes just to, again, dispel any sneaky tension that could have been building up. Let's repeat. On this next round, we're going to see if we can get even more rib cage movement. So I'm actually using my hands to encourage my ribs to drop down towards the floor. So this movement of exhaling and dropping the rib cage down is how we can start to get our diaphragm and meat corset working more as we breathe instead of being very neck and shoulder breathing. So I'm continually checking in with my head, my neck, and my shoulders to make sure that they are as relaxed as I can possibly get them. I'm also starting to blow the air out of my mouth on this round. So it's like you have some birthday candles on the ceiling and you're trying to blow them out. And that might bring a little bit more assertion into that exhale, that meat corset feeling, to get even more dropping of the rib cage in response to that deep engagement of the muscles. Again, see if you can find complete relaxation in the hips, in the neck, in your face. And you might be able to see I'm getting a little bit of shake here. So that's how much meat corset you want. And on this last exhale, blow every bit of air out of your lungs, squeezing that meat corset in, and just hold it at the bottom for 3, 2, 1, and relax. All right, relax it completely. Shake it around, move it out. Woohoo! You should feel a yummy work through the center and complete relaxation everywhere else. Part 2. We are moving to hands and knees. Put your hands directly underneath your shoulders, your knees directly underneath your hips. If your wrists hurt, feel free to put your hands on top of a couple of yoga blocks. Inhale to start, making sure your neck is nice and relaxed. Your shoulders are down out of your ears. And as you exhale, you're going to draw your meat corset muscles in, rounding your back up towards the ceiling. In a perfect world, you're going to feel your hamstrings working here. If you're having a hard time feeling your hamstrings working, try placing your feet up against the wall, flex them against the wall, and feel a little pull of your heels towards your butt. If this is very hard for you to feel, try the happy hips workout. That should give you some tips for engaging your hamstrings to move your pelvis into a posterior tilt. Once you have those muscles working, we focus on the breath. Work on finding that rounding of the spine. Notice if you're wanting to hunch a lot in your upper back, if those shoulders want to round up towards your ears. Think about using your armpit muscles to bring your armpits and your hip bones towards each other, pressing your shin bones gently down into the floor to activate that meat corset even more. On the exhale, the meat corset draws in, that same feeling of depressing the rib cage down away from your chin. And on the inhale, you're expanding your spine up towards the ceiling, creating a turtle shell shape. This is easier to do in the upper mid back, where you can see I have a lot more rounding, harder to do in the lower back. But we want to see if we can get that lower back to round as much as possible. It looks like I'm hardly doing anything, but I'm working really hard here. And you can see over time those tiny changes that you create. Those check-ins with your neck, those armpit squeezes towards your hips, the little bit of hamstrings. As you hang out here and you breathe, you can gradually go deeper and deeper into this spinal flexion, and it should feel like a lot of work. All right, little break. We're going to take a break and we're going to try it again. On the break, shake it, shake it, shake it. So just move it around, move your spine, move your shoulders, move your neck. Check in for that sneaky tension, that work in places where you didn't want it to work. And see if you have just a little bit more love and engagement in your meat corset. So a couple of head circles and stretching out the neck. All right, friends, you ready to try round 2? But you are going to now scoot your hands or your hands on the blocks a little closer to your knees. Let's just check that out and see how it feels. What does it feel like to have your hands a little closer to your knees, trying to do this turtle shell shape with the back? Do a couple of breaths here in this position. Make sure the head and neck are nice and relaxed. You should be able to feel that your neck is long and in a neutral shape. Then go ahead and get that armpit squeeze, bringing the armpits and the hip bones together. Push the palms down into the floor, and let's see if we can get even more forward bending of the spine. Now focus on the breathing. Inhale into the back to start, and long exhale blowing the air out of your mouth like there are birthday candles on the floor that you want to blow out. Use that exhale to feel your meat corset muscles, not just the ones in front, but even the sides of your body, the muscles between your hip bones, the bottoms of your rib cage, all pulling in, lifting you up towards the ceiling like a hot air balloon on that long, slow exhale. Can you hold those muscles in as you inhale, feeling the stretch and the opening in your back? If you want to try to go a little deeper, press the shin bones down into the floor even more. Check in again with your neck. Notice if your shoulders are starting to hunch up towards your ears. That's why that armpit squeeze is so important. Think of your neck staying long and relaxed. There should be no compression in the neck, no work in the neck. And sit your butt down, roll up, check in. Stretch out the neck. See if it feels a little bit more relaxed here. If your neck feels more tense after doing this exercise, stick with the laying down one where the neck is completely relaxed. I personally like a little shoulder shimmy after doing this exercise just to check in and make sure that my shoulders feel yummy. You should feel better afterwards. Hopefully that felt really good and you were able to feel some deep work in the muscles around your waist and maybe a little bit of relaxation of tension in your neck and back. If you didn't feel a relaxation of your neck and back, I would recommend trying less hard, because sometimes those really overactive muscles, as soon as we start to try hard at something, they just kick in and they will not let go. So approach it with ease until you can start to develop a little bit more of that relationship with the core muscles. Go ahead and stand up and shake it out and take another deep breath, either in front of a mirror or take a little video of yourself and just see if it looks any different or if it feels any different. If you feel difference, a little bit more expansion through the rib cage, a little bit more engagement of those meat corset muscles, and hopefully you feel that little bit of shift. Right? So we have another video that is a deeper workout for those muscles, trying to find that spinal release and that forward flexion. So you can feel free to check that out. And if you have any questions, please pop them in the comments below. I love questions. And please subscribe for more bendy, flexibility, and body mechanics goodies. All right. Thank you so much for watching and happy bendings, everyone.